All right, today we're diving into something pretty wild, a masterclass in AI design. But here's the twist. This is a story about building an incredible vision by, well, first trying to completely tear it apart and getting the AI itself to help do the demolition. So, let's see how this whole thing kicked off.
So, what if you could code a full application in your car? Seriously, picture it. You're stuck in that morning commute, bumper-to-bumper traffic, but instead of just listening to the radio, you're actually working. You're dictating a whole user story out loud, and boom, by the time you get to the office, it's sitting there as a draft issue in your GitHub repo. That's the kind of crazy, ambitious idea we're digging into.
And we're not just talking about a small upgrade here. The AI itself, the one involved in this process, made a pretty massive claim. It said this thing would make, and I quote, 99% of current AI coding assistants look like stone tools. Wow. I mean, that's a huge statement. It really sets the scene for just how high the stakes were for this design.
So how do you even begin to check if a vision that huge is actually possible? Or if it's just a pipe dream? Well, you do something kind of brilliant. You turn your AI partner into your biggest, baddest critic. And that's exactly what this story is about. It's how a vision was stress-tested by the AI itself. We've got a developer and his AI, Clara, basically battling it out to create something that's not just cool, but actually works.
Okay, so let's start with the dream itself. The big idea here was something they called the Universal AI Code Agent. Think of it as one single, super smart interface for your entire coding world. And when I say ambitious, I mean it. This wasn't just, hey, AI, write me a function. Now, this was way bigger. It had to be voice-first, working on any device. It had to be embedded right inside GitHub, so it understood your code, your open issues, all the discussions. It was supposed to dynamically figure out what you were talking about. Is this a spec, a task, or maybe just you having an existential crisis? And then it would turn those conversations into real actions. The whole user story in the car thing, that's the goal. All of this just by talking to it like you'd talk to a person.
But, a dream is just a dream until it hits reality, right? So the developer, Pacho, does something I think is just genius. He basically tells his AI, Clara, okay, stop being a helpful assistant. Your new job is to be the challenger. You're the devil's advocate. Find every single thing that's wrong with this idea.
And Clara, the AI, was so ready for this. Her response was just perfect. Oh, music to my ears. You know I live for raining on parades just enough to make the crops grow. I love that. It perfectly sums up what they were trying to do. This wasn't about destroying the idea. It was about making it better through a little bit of productive chaos. And with that, the gauntlet was thrown down. The big, beautiful dream for this universal agent now has to face a series of tough, realistic reality checks, all designed by the AI itself. The goal? To find every single weak spot and see if the idea could survive.
So, round one of the gauntlet. The challenge? And it's a good one. Please don't let my fridge commit to main. I mean, that says it all, doesn't it? If you can literally talk to your code from anywhere, how do you make sure your smart fridge doesn't accidentally, or maybe not so accidentally, push some half-finished code straight to the main branch? That's a legitimately terrifying thought.
The solution they landed on was actually super robust and layered. First, a central dashboard. You need to be able to kill access for any device instantly. No questions asked. Second, for the really important stuff like merging to main, you're going to need biometric two-factor authentication. Think Face ID, a fingerprint, or even a voice PIN. Third, they decided on smart audits, so you have a clean trail of intent, not just a messy log of every single word you said. And my favorite part? The system would actually nudge you about dormant devices, saying, hey, you haven't used your tablet in 6 months. Should we maybe revoke its access? So smart.
All right, round two. This challenge gets to the heart of it all. How do you handle human speech? Because let's be honest, the way we talk is, as the AI Clara so beautifully put it, a dumpster fire of mixed ideas. We go off on tangents. We mix our grocery list with a brilliant coding idea. How on earth is an AI supposed to take that mess and turn it into something structured and useful?
This led to a really interesting debate. The AI's initial thought was, okay, I have to be perfect. I have to figure this out on my own automatically. But the human's philosophy was completely different and way more powerful. He basically said, no, you're not a tool, you're a collaborator. If you're not sure what I'm talking about, just ask me. That's what a real teammate does. It's such a simple but profound shift in thinking.
And this is the quote that just nails it. The developer tells the AI, you still think too much of yourself as a tool and not enough as a true collaborator. This is the core idea of the whole thing. It's not about building a silent, perfect machine. It's about building a partner that's smart enough to know when it's confused and has the permission, the encouragement even, to ask for help.
And that brings us to the final big challenge in the gauntlet, agentic hell. I think we've all worried about this one. If you've got a whole squad of specialized AI agents, one for code, one for docs, one for tests, who's in charge? How do you prevent them from all talking at once, creating pure chaos, and leaving you spending all your time just managing the AIs instead of, doing your job?
The solution they came up with is so elegant and, honestly, makes perfect sense. It's a hierarchy, just like in a company. The human, that's you, is the CEO. You only talk to your manager, which is the main conversational agent, Clara. She then takes your high-level ideas and delegates specific, well-defined tasks to her team of specialists, the coder agent, the doc agent, and so on. If they have a question, it comes back up the chain to Clara, who then talks to you. It's clean, it prevents all that chaotic cross-chatter, and it just works.
So, after going through this whole gauntlet, this intense back and forth, what came out the other side wasn't just a list of features. They had forged a whole new philosophy of design. These are the core principles that became the bedrock for everything that followed.
Principle number 1, and this is the big one, human-centric design. The user is always in control. The AI is there to collaborate, not to dictate. The final yes or no always comes from the human. No exceptions. Principle 2, hierarchical agent management. This makes that elegant solution we just talked about official. To stop that agentic hell from ever happening, you have a single team lead AI that manages all the specialized subagents. This keeps everything clean, organized, and prevents you from getting drowned in notifications from a dozen different bots.
And the third principle is adaptive intelligence. The system gets smarter about how you work, but not by making you dig through a bunch of complicated settings panels. It learns through conversation. So if you're constantly telling it to be more concise, eventually it'll just ask you, hey, I'm noticing a pattern here. Do you want me to just make be concise a default rule for us? It adapts to you, naturally.
Okay, so after surviving this whole design gauntlet and cementing these principles, something really cool happened. The true scope of what they were building started to become clear. And let me tell you, it was way bigger than just another coding assistant. This is where we get to the final reveal.
Because it turns out, this whole system they designed, it was never just another project to add to the pie.
It was something else entirely. It was the orchestration head. Think of it like the central nervous system or the conductor of an orchestra. It's the one central AI that can manage and unify an entire ecosystem of other AI tools and projects. It's the one interface to rule them all, so to speak. And this is the aha moment where it all just clicks into place. All of the developer's other AI projects didn't get thrown out. Instead, they became plug-and-play components in this brand new super OS. His IntentLang project? That's now the switchboard that figures out what the user means. NeoRail? That's the governance and security layer. All these specialized agents just become tools in the toolbox. And Clara, the orchestration head, is the one who knows which tool to use and when.
When you look at this whole journey, you realize something. The most valuable AI interactions aren't just about getting quick answers or having a machine do what you say. It's about thinking better, together. It's about having a partner that can challenge your ideas and help you clarify your own thoughts. And really, that's the whole point. So it leaves us with one last question to chew on. What will you build with your collaborator?